Good evening, everybody. We're live. Choo Choo Mama Nitro Funny Car Driver Shawn Van Horn. Hey, Shawn, how's it going?
Good. How are you doing?
Pretty good. So, how was your 2017 race season?
It was pretty good. We made a lot of headway this year. We quit throwing the crankshaft out of the bottom of the motor and got some things figured out. Hopefully, we'll have a better season next year.
So, how many events did you run last year?
We only ran 2 events, and then we tested twice in between those 2. Just kind of stuck to Bakersfield. We didn't really want to travel out of the area until we knew we could compete with these guys that are running, If we could get into the 580s or so at Bakersfield, we figured we could travel to some of the other tracks and, maybe give them a run.
Right. So you did the Hot Rod Reunion?
We did the Hot Rod Reunion and the March meets. The Hot Rod Reunion was kind of bittersweet. We finally started figuring some stuff out and then chucked all the connecting rods out into the oil pan, so that kind of soured our weekend.
Then we had that tragedy with Brett Henry and his fuel altered that weekend too, though.
Yeah, compared to that team, we didn't have such a bad weekend, did we?
No. The only good
Sad deal.
The only good thing you could say is he died doing what he loves to do.
I hope so. We all say that.
Yeah. Anyway, rest in peace, Brett. So, when did you first start getting into drag racing?
I guess it was about 9 or 10. It was the year that the Junior Dragsters came out, and my dad bought me a Chris Alston chassis kit. It came in about the size of a box, like a refrigerator box.
Yeah.
He built the wooden table out in the shop and started, putting the whole kit together. That was probably 92. And it took him 3 years, and I think he only had to stretch it twice to keep my legs in it. But I think I was about 13 years old when I finally got to race it, and been kind of hooked ever since.
So what was the first car you drag raced in?
It was that Junior Dragster, and I outgrew it at about 15 years old, and took a break from that for quite a while, kind of while I got life started, and then I guess it was about 4 years ago, I met Jim Reed, the guy who owns the Choo Choo Mama car, and he picked up this fuel altered from John Dunn back east. And, he had a car. He didn't have a trailer. He didn't have a crew. He didn't have a driver or anything. He just had the race car. So the 2 of us kind of put the rest of the package together in kind of the end of 2014, and I licensed in it in 2015 at the test and tune before the March meets.
Oh, okay. So who'd you get your license from?
Rick Rogers. He drives a Fighting Irish car, and he drove Smokey's Dark Side a few years ago, and a few other cars. I worked on the Irish with him driving it, and he helped me, signed off. Mindy Fry signed off. Don Hudson signed off with the Beachcomber. Del Worsham was the last signature on my license. That was kind of exciting for me because he's always been my favorite.
Right. Yeah, Del's a good guy. So
yeah, you just kind of grab whoever you can, whoever's got time to come watch you.
Right. So how many crew members do you have?
Oh, I think we're at 10 total right now. I've got Jim Reed, the car owner, myself, and he and I kind of share the tuning duties along with my dad. We just brought in Jacob Zaluski. I kind of stole him from the Irish. He's going to do the left side. I've got my childhood best friend, Chris O'Dell. He's doing the right side. My little brother's best friend, Shane Milanich, he's on the bottom end. My little brother, Nick Van Horn, he does the clutch. My dad's buddy Norm, he chases up all the oil. my wife backs me up, and then I got Jerry Zaliski. He's our executive chef, and we have. I think we made 140 meals at the reunion.
Wow.
I think that's the one thing we are successful at the Choo Choo Mama is good meals. We haven't gotten down into the fives yet, but we've eaten a lot of ribs.
Yeah, I've done a lot of interviews, and all these guys keep telling me, if you ever come down to one of our races, come to the pits, we'll feed you.
Yeah, at the end of the day, when your day doesn't go as planned, at least the meal always does.
Yeah. So when you first started driving the Choo Choo Mama, it was the fuel altered?
Yeah, it was basically the same chassis it is now. I shortened up the overhang on it a bit. I think I cut 3 or 4 inches out of it to fit it under the Trans Am body. So yeah, it was just a funny car chassis with a great big wing on the back and a little. I'm guessing it's like a 34 Dodge body. It's real hard to tell what it was, but yeah, fully enclosed, had an escape hatch and all.
So what was it like getting behind the wheel for the first time at a fuel altered?
Well, I'd only driven my junior dragster, and I put 5 passes in on a 1050 door car, so it was a bit much that first hit. I think I had to hit the gas twice to go the first 60 foot. I had no idea what that thing was like. I mean, the 60 foot on these things is incredible, and it really shocked me. And it was pretty well hooked after that. I was scared and happy all at the same time. It's a funny thing when you climb behind the wheel because you really don't want to get in the seat. You're kind of worried. You're nervous. You don't know what's happening as far as, is everything done? You're confident that you did everything you could, but then it's real nerve-wracking. You get behind the seat and you're kind of, your nerves are going. You get to the end of the track and all you want to do is get this thing put back together so you can go do it again.
So wasn't it any different when you drove the Choo Choo Mama as the funny car?
The funny car is a little easier to drive. It's got a little more weight on the front end, so it's got some manners early on. And then, at the end, the big wing on the back of the fuel altered would kind of pick the front wheels up about 900 to 1,000 foot, and it would start to get real hectic to drive down there. So I'd say the funny car's, it's got more manners. But it's just easier to kind of.
So what's the fastest runtime you've had with the funny car?
620 with the funny car. We're a ways off. There's no book you can buy that tells you how to run these things, and some people they've got a real smart tuner that comes in and helps them off the bat, and some people like us just kind of try to figure it out on our own. So at this point in time, I can tell you about 200 things not to do, and very few things to keep doing. We're experimenting every time, just trying to change 1 or 2 things each time and try to figure out what those things are going to do to the pass.
Okay. So are there any?
What we really need to do is just make passes where it doesn't hurt itself, because budget-wise, we can't keep doing that. So if we can, figure out what it does, and we don't catch a piston or whatever, we just keep trying to do that and then work, a little more, and not try to tilt the world with it then.
Now, are there any drivers that were inspirational to you when you started drag racing?
Well, as a kid, John Force, that was huge. My dad used to take me to the Big Bud warm-ups. They used to be in Bakersfield when I was little. I think they quit going because the weather was always non-predictable. But, you see John Force show up there with an all-white race car and all-white trailer because he hadn't finalized his Castrol deal or whatever that year. And that was, there's nothing cooler than John Force. Now I'm more into the Del Worsham and these guys that are trying to do it, without a big team behind them, just kind of, one-man show. Tim Wilkerson, those are the guys I really dig these days. But yeah, back before, it was always John Force growing up.
Behind Choo Choo Mama name?
Jim Reed, the guy that owns the car, he's a drag boat racer from way back in the 70s and 80s, and his alcohol flat bottom was Choo Choo Mama, and it's the name of his favorite song by 10 years after. They performed at Woodstock. So he just really got behind the name, and when we were looking what to name the car, he's got pictures of his boats on the wall there, and I said, well, come on, let's get nostalgic here. Call it what your drag boat was called.
Now, how many sponsors do you have for the car?
My dad has a few A&W restaurants, and so A&W is kind of our primary sponsor. And Jim Reed, he's got a CAD company, like computer-aided drafting. And then Lansco Engineering, he helps us out with a bunch of parts. And Uncle Ed Outfitters, they're a gun shop in Atascadero. Laurel Bay Cabinets, they have that alcohol funny car. They're helping us out with our clutch. And DJ Safety, man, I couldn't tell you. Without Big Ben and guys like him, they do everything they can to help us keep going.
Now, Shawn, can you tell us a story about what goes into preparation for a weekend of drag racing for you?
Beforehand, Jim and I, we get together every Wednesday night no matter what, all throughout the year, and just put eyes on the car. I'd say about a month beforehand, we start putting things back together. So the engine's out of the car, we put the engine back in the car, we start checking the frame rails for cracks. You got to go over the front A-arms and make sure that they're not, that they're free and not too much slop in the kingpins, and bearings are greased up, and you just start looking over everything with a fine-tooth comb. You got to make sure that everything is at 100%, because that car can kill you. If something was to come apart, it's not a happy ending. So we'll go through the engine, we'll check the degree on the cam, we'll check all the main bearings and make sure everything's fine. Put the rack in it and just get everything, a slow assembly. Just try to check off a couple of things a night. And then usually the week before the race, we're finalizing things and loading up the trailer and that big push to make sure we've got everything to go. Make sure batteries are charged and everything's loaded up to go. But luckily, we're only 2 hours from Bakersfield here in Paso Robles. So we can leave, the night. We can have everything loaded up the night before a race and head over. It's not we don't have to travel like some people do to get to Bakersfield.
Right. So now, Shawn, what have been some of the milestones in your drag racing career?
Well, getting my license was big. There's horror stories of some guys, it takes a year or two to get it going. When we were lucky enough to have a car that would at least get down the track, we didn't have to figure that out. It's never blown the tires off of it. It's always been a pretty consistent going down the track. So just getting my license was huge, and making it to that first March meet, man, that was a whole lot of work coming together. And I licensed on the last test at the March meets in 2015. So I was legal to race the first round of qualifying. I was able to come out. And then I'd say after that, we had 2 years of just nothing but trouble. We'd make it a run or two, and then it'd blacken the crank, and we couldn't figure out why. We changed over from a wet sump to a dry sump, and changed to a different oil pump, and finally we got some good advice from Smokey's Dark Side, and he helped us really put our oil system together. So that was the biggest milestone, because we'd go to a race and we'd run it 1 or 2 laps and just ruin the crankshaft in the thing, and we'd be out. So the second biggest milestone was just getting it so it wouldn't murder itself. So you can go out and put more laps on and try to figure something out with these things.
Now, besides Bakersfield, Shawn, what are some of your other favorite tracks to run on?
Well, we've only ran Bakersfield and Sacramento. We ran the Fox Hunt at Sacramento with the fuel altered and a little, bought-in match race thing. We ran the Valencias and Generalo and Dan Hicks, and that was a good time. Sacramento's it's a neat little track. It's about what you'd imagine a track from the 70s would be, wooden bleachers and narrow groove and the bump that everybody's worried about. And I had that lane both times, but we haven't gotten out and traveled a whole lot. My dream's always been, since I was in the junior dragster, to go run Sonoma. So I'm really hoping they'll let us do that one of these days. And maybe this year, if we can have a good year at the March meets, we'll try to go to Boise or Salt Lake or maybe up north to Seattle.
Now, how about Funny Car Chaos?
We're talking about it, but it's 24-hour drive from here to there, and there's going to be some fast cars there. And I don't know if we need to drag 10 people over there and embarrass ourselves just quite yet. But I really like what they're doing with that program. Trying to bring some fun back to it.
Yeah. So you've only raced on quarter mile then, right?
Yeah, Sacramento, they rent us 1,000 foot, and they said that was just for carnage because that last 320 feet, they said that's just when it gets oily. So we stuck to 1,000 foot there.
Now, where do you get your fire suit from?
Big Ben, DJ Safety. He's been great. I got all my safety gear except for the Hans device, which I believe is Simpson, and I have an impact helmet. But Big Ben has everything else, the blower bag, the diaper. Yeah, DJ's been real good to us. Yeah, funny story about my fire suit, too. When I got it, he says, well, what do you want on it? I said, nothing. He says, you don't want your name on it? I said, no, man. What if this thing scares me too much? I don't want anything on it I'll be able to sell. I didn't know if I was going to be able to do it.
Now, throughout your drag race career, have you had any accidents or injury accidents?
No. Knock on wood, we've been pretty good so far. I'm still pretty cautious. I think I've only got 45 laps in the car. So I'm still kind of in that survivor mode where if it really starts to come over, I get out of it. I don't push it to the center line or the wall or anything, but and I've been lucky. Nothing's really come up and put me to the test.
That's good. So we're coming to the fun portion of the interview, now the fun questions. Have you got any trophies during your drag race career?
No. I haven't even come close.
All right, so if someone gave you $200 million and said, Shawn, build me a drag race track, where would you build the track and what kind of features would you put in the track?
Oh, I'd build it in my hometown, Paso Robles. And I don't know, I kind of dig these 4-wides. I know I'm not going with everybody on this, but to see that kind of horsepower all at once, I think that's pretty cool. And just big pits, and I don't know if you've been to Bakersfield, but they could really use some more bathrooms. I know my wife would be a lot happier if they had bathrooms there that weren't porta potties. So I know I'm saying this for her, but yeah, good, clean bathrooms.
Well, in order to get good, clean bathrooms, you gotta have people working in them.
Yeah, you do need people, don't you?
Well, you could put those dollar people to work in it.
I like the track that we have over here by Great Lakes Dragway in Union Grove, Wisconsin. They got people handing you towels to dry your hands after you wash your hands.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't have that at Bakersfield. We got somebody that might steal your beer.
Now, do you have any hobbies outside of drag racing, Shawn?
I got a little shop at my house that I work on cars out of and build stuff. I like welding. I like building things. I've got a 65 Chevelle that we used to do a little pro touring stuff with. It's got Corvette suspension under it, an LS motor. We have a lot of fun with that. The last few years, though, our hobby's just been this race car, just this choo-choo mama. It does take all your time and extra money. And I got a 2-year-old kid too, and he's really been a lot of fun the last couple of years. I had him a little later than most, but I'm glad I did.
Now, are you hoping to get your 2-year-old kid into a junior dragster someday?
It's a possibility, or maybe a quarter midget or a go-kart, something with a little more seat time that'll teach him a little more hand-eye coordination. The junior dragster is a lot of fun, but I think you could benefit from a little more seat time.
Yeah. So now, Shawn, if you were able to do time travel and go back in time, would you do anything differently?
No, I'm so lucky the way it all worked out. I mean, I was in the right place at the right time with Jim, and putting together this team, partnered up with him and my dad. I don't know how things could be any better, or how things could have gone any better. It'd be nice to know a few more things that we know now, so that we didn't hurt so many parts. But I'm sure if we had this interview in a year or two, and I was to say it'd be nice to know a few more things that we know now, we'd go back in time. So, no, I think just everything's kind of worked out real good for us.
That's good. I think the wife has another question over here. Hold on.
Have you ever, before a race, have you ever had a time where you felt sleepy right before your race? And how did you overcome that?
With us, it's always a lot of work. So you're always just exhausted before you go out there, and it's usually a hurry up and wait. You try to get in line early. So yeah, you end up tired, and you kind of relaxed. And I'm not one to sit in the truck and wait. I've got to be on my feet. I've got to be walking around. So I don't take any chance to relax at all until I get strapped in the car. And then you just kind of start to control your breathing and slow the world down. Close your eyes if you can, and just I really try to take deep breaths and calm my nerves. And there's no way I can fall asleep in the car, but I can get pretty close. Just once you're in the car, that's your job. You don't have everything else to think about. You're not on your feet. You're not checking this. You're not checking that. You just try to get your job figured out.
Okay, which car have you had the most fun driving?
The Altered was a ball. It moved this way, it moved that way. If there would have been more races for the fuel altered stuff, this program's great, but there's an unknown future to it. Every year they're building more cars, but there's still only 2 races a year for it. So if there was more races, if they at least let you run the reunion, I'd say the Altered. That was the key. That was the fun car. But because there's just not a big schedule for them, and the funny car's kind of which direction we went. The funny car's a whole lot more expensive to run. and fuel altered, we weren't limited to blower size and fuel pumps, so it was easier to run those numbers that we needed to run. But you know, this is what we've got. If we want to race the reunion, we have to have a funny car or build a fuel altered like you know, Brian Hall or something similar to the Nanook car, something that fits that profile of the, you know, early 70s, late 60s fuel altereds. But you know, I don't know if I'm man enough to drive that short wheelbase of car.
Okay, how do you drive on public roads? Can you switch off your hunger for speed and take corners like most people do, or is every corner a challenge for you?
I'm not sure I understand. Is every corner that we've turned with a car a challenge?
No,
is that what you're asking?
No. When you're not driving your race car, how do you drive on public roads?
Oh, well, if I'm in my Chevelle, I probably drive a bit fast. You know, it's set up pretty nice pro touring type car. My daily vehicle is a 550 Ford work truck, and I drive that at the speed limit. So it all kind of depends. If I'm by myself in my Chevelle, I drive way too fast, and every other time I'm a speed limit driver. Especially if somebody's in the car with me, like my wife or kid, or you know, a work friend or something like that. I'm a speed limit driver.
Okay. Which is more important in racing? A strong upper body, lower body, or core? I know it's best to have them all, but what do you think is most important?
Oh man, I don't know. I don't have any of it. I've kind of got a beer drinker's physique.
In the car.
Yeah, I don't know.
You don't know?
I'd probably be yeah, I don't know. I have no idea. Probably upper body in a funny car, because you really do have to kind of muscle them around a bit. You know, your lower body, as long as you can keep the gas pedal pushed, I think you're good to go.
Okay, who would be your two dream co-drivers? And which car would you want them to drive? You know, your two favorite other racers that are all over USA or any parts of the world. Who would you want to drive against?
Who would I want to race, or who would I want on my team?
Who do you want on your team, and who do you want to race? Both questions.
Well, like I said earlier, Del Worsham's my favorite, and Rick Rogers in the Irish car, he's been my mentor. So, you know, I'd love to race either of them, and I'd love either of them on my team. It doesn't make any difference. But those are the two, Rick Rogers and Del Worsham.
Okay. So, in your opinion, do you think racing games or video game simulators can give an advantage to drivers before entering a race?
Maybe without drag, I don't know. I have a little practice tree, and I work on my reaction times with that, but I've never really gotten into video games, so I couldn't really answer that question. I don't see how they can hurt. It's all hand-eye coordination, but yeah, the only thing I have is my little practice tree.
Okay, now, when you're entering a new track, how do you handle the braking points at the new track?
Well, we're drag racing, so there's not a whole lot of braking points. It's not like, you know, road court stuff. So I just go until I can't and brake. You know, as soon as I see that last cone, I throw the parachutes and hit the brakes.
What's your most memorable event as a driver?
The second March meet we ran with the fuel altered. My wife had our kid 3 days before, and so she, of course, wasn't able to go, and I was traveling back and forth every night the 2-hour drive. So I was driving 2 hours to Bakersfield, 2 hours home, so that I could be there with her. And then we made the show and qualified real good. I think I qualified number 3. And we ended up going out in the first round to Dan Hicks, who I don't remember if he won or runner-up that year, but that was pretty cool. Making the show at the March meets. It doesn't get any cooler than that with me.
Now, if you're racing at night, how's your vision at night?
I'm fine. Down at the end of the track, as long as I have the air bottle on and the visor doesn't get any fog on it, I can see fine. Track's lit really well to the finish line, and then after that, you just do the best you can. But it's never pitch black down there.
Okay. Now, when you're sitting in the car right at the track, ready to race, does your mind ever wander somewhere else while you're concentrating on racing?
No. When you get up to that, your adrenaline really starts pumping, and you start, going through your mental checklist. Is everything you've got good? Are your belts good? Are they tight? Are they even? Is your air bottles on? I kind of get a little fidgety with the shifter button and make sure that I can hear the air shifter working. Luckily, I have a crew guy that comes around and kind of does whatever I point to and tries to keep a step ahead of me as far as pulling pins and stuff. But before a race, you're generally pretty focused. Now, the officials do things to kind of play with your mind sometimes. They try to rush you while you're getting tied in, but right before you fire that car up, I'm pretty sure everybody will have the same answer, that you're real focused.
Okay. How would your family, friends, and coworkers describe you as a person?
Man, I don't know. You'd have to ask them. I'm probably a bit intense with certain things and pretty lax on others. I really wouldn't know how to answer that.
So you don't know what your team members would say about you?
It all kind of depends upon the situation. Sometimes I can get a little riled up, and other things I'm easygoing about. It's all situation dependent.
Okay, explain
but
this.
I am the one that they all look for the answer on things. So.
Okay, explain the situation you had at a track in the past that you guys had trouble with the car.
Well, at the reunion last year, the car wouldn't start on the warm-up stand. We were in the pits, and we had some head scratchers, and so you have to jump into action. You have to figure out why. Is it not getting spark? You got to check the mag. You got to make sure that it's timed right. And it turned out just to be that we weren't spraying enough gas in it to start it, but we just weren't used to it being that cold at that point. We'd been running in the heat, so I am the one that has to make those calls and figure this stuff out. Everybody else has their jobs, and my job is the rest of it.
Okay. What is your greatest professional strength as a driver?
I own a trailer.
That's your strength? Really?
I don't know. I have tools and a trailer. I'm the perfect partner for Jim, who owns a car.
Okay, let me ask you this. Have you ever been caught stealing?
No. No, never.
Now, if you were offered another job, would you leave your drag racing job for this other job and you make $1 million?
No, money can be spent. It's not worth leaving what makes you happy.
Has there any time that you've had that you actually did fail at the track, that you did fail?
Yeah, Yeah, at the reunion this last, I keep going back to that, but we had this major hurdle with throwing the rods out of it. We knew it wasn't happy on the warm-up stands. It was smoking kind of weird, and I figured it would clear up, and it didn't. It wasn't happy on the warm-up stands in the pits, and we still went out and raced it. And I failed. I should have made the call to tear it down and figure out what's going on. We had another motor in the trailer. We could have put that one in. And instead, we poked holes in the side of a really nice billet block, and it's something I never want to do again. I'm glad I didn't oil the track. It was the only expense was on us. It wasn't on the fans, but I should have known to not go out with something that was wounded, that wasn't right.
Yeah. Okay, now what's your favorite food?
Hamburgers, French fries.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, what's your favorite drink, non-alcoholic or alcoholic? Either one.
Bud Light, Dr. Pepper, and iced tea. Those are my three favorites. It depends upon my mood. I don't drink much I don't drink much Dr. Pepper anymore because I'm trying to keep my weight down so I can fit in this car. So just unsweetened iced tea and Bud Lights.
Okay, so in California, you have a Costco or Sam's Club over there?
We have, I think it's the same as a Sam's Club. We call it a Walmart. Is that the same thing?
Basically, but...
Yeah,
how about
there's a
Costco?
Costco, but we don't go there.
Now, are you friends with Dave on his profile?
Yeah, I think so.
Now, if anytime, let's just say anytime, you do decide to step in Costco, do me a favor, take a picture of Dr. Pepper at Costco, the 12 packs or 24 packs. Take a picture of it, of the price, and send it to Dave, please.
Okay.
I need to prove a theory.
Okay.
Because on the Costco in, Portland, Oregon, my cousin sent me a picture. 36 pack of Dr. Pepper was $17.99.
Okay, I'll look.
Yeah, I was like 36 pack of Dr. Pepper, $17.99, and you could see it on the paper. It says $9.99 in taxes.
Okay, we're not that bad in California.
Okay, because I know it's hit the West Coast, the taxes, the sugar taxes.
No, we haven't got those in California yet.
But in Illinois, we had it during the summer, but they wiped it out, so no more sugar taxes on us. Anyways, what's your favorite music?
Classic rock. It depends upon what I'm doing. If I'm working in the shop, I like something a little easier to listen to, something that kind of keeps me mellow. If I'm driving, I like Metallica or AC/DC.
Okay, I'm wearing my Metallica t-shirt and I'm wearing my AC/DC something else.
Yeah, it doesn't get any better than those two, does it?
No, I love metal. I got tattoos, Slayer tattooed on my left arm, and on my left arm I got Kitty tattooed. Kitty's a female band from Canada.
Okay, I'll have to check them out.
Yeah, check them out. Dave will send you a link to them. Anyways, so did you enjoy the interview?
Have you guys ever come to the March meet?
March meet? Where? In California? Bakersfield?
Bakersfield, yeah.
Yeah, if I have money, I'll go to California, but I don't have money right now to travel.
we got our track band, Joe Walla and the Kings, and they put on good rock shows for us at the track, in the evenings.
Really?
Usually Friday, Saturday night.
Yeah? That's cool. We need to get that at Great Lakes Dragway, man. We need to get that. We need to get a band. Instead of them playing constant music. It's always the same music they play. Black Sabbath, shit like that. But we need actual band at the Great Lakes Dragway.
Yeah.
So now, Shawn, what's the best way for the fans to find your racing schedule?
We got a Facebook page, and we're working on our website, choochoomama.net. It's a work in progress. We got a guy named George Doty, George. Oh man, I'm on the spot now. I can't remember. His name's George, and I'll thank him on my Facebook when I can remember his last name. He's put together a Facebook page for us. He owns a website for us, and to try to sell some of our merchandise, our T-shirts, and if the T-shirts work out good, then we'll get some more stuff like some sweatshirts and hats and stuff like that. It's George Bosey. I apologize, George. I appreciate you, pal. And see if we can't sell some more stuff. I've had some interest in some of the parts that we've ruined. People wanting us to send them that stuff. So we'll just see where it goes. We'll never be a big show type deal like John Force, where he sells a whole trailer load of merchandise. But if we can do something to offset some of the costs, it's helpful.
Wait, what about patches and pins? Those are really cheap to get made.
Yeah, we'll see where it goes.
I like patches and pins.
We haven't come up with a huge game plan on that yet, but
you should. Necklaces too. Necklaces would kick off, man. You'd sell a shit ton of necklaces.
Necklaces. Somebody told me those little onesie baby clothes. I should get that because nobody else has any of that stuff.
Oh yeah, people will buy that. Oh, people will buy them all from you, and then you're gonna have to order more.
Yeah.
That's how fast they're gonna get sold out. People always look for stuff that people want to buy. People are more into patches, pins, onesies, necklaces, earrings, bracelets, shoes even, but you don't need to get shoes made. T-shirts, tank tops, hoodies. I'm just saying the most common things that sell out there. Even calendars and posters, postcards. On postcards, kind of like overdoing it on the postcards. The pictures, the giant 8x10.
The hero cards, those are something we've been talking about so that we can throw our sponsors on there.
Even the plastic little cars, like the Hot Wheels, those would be cool too.
Yeah.
Or even,
that'd be pretty expensive to produce.
Or even dolls dolls of you being made, like little bobblehead dolls of you being made in the car.
I don't think you'd want one of those.
People like that shit. Kids like that shit. It's like I'm just tossing out ideas. What's the highest seller?
Well, text me all your ideas.
We will. Well, thank you.
Right.
Thank you, man. We only got like 40 seconds left. Thank you for your time.
No worries. Yeah. And if you guys have anything else, anything to follow up on, let me know. Sorry, I don't have a whole lot there.
It's okay. You did a good 45 minutes. The interview was great, except when my mom interrupted the interview. Sorry about that. My mom. Oh, my God, my mom. That's another story.
I got about 40 seconds. You got any quick final words for the fans out there?
Come out and say hi. Everybody's welcome in our pit. We're the only car that I've seen that backs in to the pit so that people get a different view of what's going on. And, I was a race fan for a long time, so there's a few things that we did to try to make it more fan-friendly in our pit. So, yeah, if you see us, come by, say hi, we'll let you in. And any questions, hit me up.
All right, thanks again for the interview, Shawn.
No worries. Have a good one.
You too.